Hey, story fans, it's the Writing Ref. I don't hate, I just officiate your favorite kaiju movies. And boy, have I been wanting to talk some kaiju movies for a long time, and Godzilla Minus One gives me the perfect chance to do so. But let's go back and talk about Godzilla as he started in 1950. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to go to the booth on this one. I might need some help. This video might have to come out later. What's that light? What the?
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Rebellion tell me to protect them. What if they get sick?
While Danny kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet and Euron's forces.
Oh, Shane! That's right, I do have a Godzilla expert friend. So,
Such as it may be,
yes,
Mr. Hightower.
but just to prove it to the audience, I have a couple questions for you. They are film reviews
All right, let's do it.
for other Godzilla movies, and I'm going to give you kind of a multiple choice or kind of a hints, but they will be... These are film reviews, both good and bad, for Godzilla movies throughout all history, and your job is to kind of narrow down which one.
Okay.
So, first one is, after the Crap Fest, that was Roland Emmerich's remake of a classic icon. This is a return to form that not only brings back the real Godzilla, but fixes elements lacking in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Yeah, these are all fan reviews now, mind you, so they're not
Right.
real critics.
Oh, they're not the real critic.
No, not the official
I got you.
critics.
That Tokyo SOS
It is in that era.
would be destroy all monsters, or monsters all out attack.
Godzilla 2000.
You know,
Yep.
not one of my favorites. I watched it one time, and I get it. Watched it one time, but that's not one that comes up to my head when I think of good Godzilla movies. It is still fine, but it's just not one of my favorites. Okay,
Right.
go ahead. What
Okay.
you got?
Here's the next one. This will go much earlier in the Showa era. This movie is the definition of cinema at its greatest. The horror elements and the sadness and despair is just amazing in this movie, and it's plenty sad to see how this series ended up becoming some guy in a costume tackling another guy in a costume.
Yeah, the first one, the 1954 version, is one that kicked it all off.
Yeah. And apparently this guy only liked the original.
I mean, it's a good one. So, yeah, I got you.
Because even that was a rubber suit.
It just was, absolutely.
It's just tackling another guy in a costume.
Yeah,
Rubber
okay.
suit.
It happens.
All right, and then a little bit later, a very goofy movie for its time, but for the precursor of the crossovers we have now, this is very timeless. It's a crossover, considered one of the first movie crossovers of all time.
You got me.
There's a giant gorilla.
Oh, well, that's the third one, so it really isn't over. Oh, I guess it is a crossover. That's the third one.
Yeah.
That's 1963's Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
But Toho could not say King Kong because of copyright infringement.
Right.
So that's why the original one is Godzilla vs. Kong.
Some of the other reviews said Kong looks stupid in this.
He looks like he's high as a kite.
Yes.
He does.
And another viewer said, you know, this was fun to buy on VHS and watch when I was high.
It is.
Exactly.
Yes. I actually have it in my back room on DVD, as a matter of fact.
Oh. Fun. On DVD, not VHS.
Yeah, no, DVD. I'm high tech.
Alright, you're gonna like this one.
Okay.
The monsters are generic, but the fights are sick. Giant grasshoppers and spiders. This is a cool film.
I just watched it.
It will not be one of your favorites.
I just watched it. It's from the Showa era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched it.
These giant grasshoppers only appear in these movies, apparently. They're part of the monster. Yeah. No, I forget what they're called.
Praying mantis. They appeared in 3 movies, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm. Rhymes with vanilla.
Yeah, it's got the baby Godzilla makes the appearance. Vanilla in there.
You know?
Is it the one where it's the kid having the daydreams, or the one where it's the scientific expedition?
It's this. Son of Godzilla.
Son of Godzilla.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
That's why I asked, because they're basically the same movie, but one's a daydream with a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one's a scientific expedition starring Takarada.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this fan was like, the nostalgia is great for this movie. It was advertised so much you'd see Godzilla things everywhere as a kid around its release. The beginning feels a tad like the OG Jurassic Park, in a good way, of course. About an hour in, the story shrinks into small bits. It's hard seeing movies that could have been better. Still watch it every few years.
Shin Godzilla.
Oh, close, go a little bit closer into the 90s. Advertisements everywhere. This is an American fan.
Oh, so you're talking about the 1998?
Yes.
We don't talk about that.
There's a lot of fish.
That's a lot of fish. Come on.
That one does not count. Ferris Bueller does not defeat Godzilla. Godzilla is not an iguana, and he doesn't give birth to velociraptors.
Right.
Do not get me started on this.
Is that OG Jurassic Park?
It is not OG. It's OG trash.
OG trash. Alright. Well, here's one I hope you like better than this fan, who said, I saw this in 2019, kind of late for when this came out, and I haven't rewatched it since then. It's for a reason. I had a really, maybe English isn't their first language, I had a really bad mouth taste when I finish it.
Hate that. That must be
No, no, this is one of the legendary movies. I think you've more than proven yourself. It's the first legendary Godzilla. They didn't like it. It's hard to figure out this one. It's like most of the complaints on this one is like not enough Godzilla, or it's
That's a
pretty
complaint
good.
for all of them.
Yeah.
So getting into legendary, though.
Yeah.
Okay. To get into legendary against the Muto, I disagree with that evaluation. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
Because I thought there were a lot of throwbacks to the original Showa era
There was.
Godzilla movies, and if you're a Godzilla fan, you notice those. Because I spent a lot of time in that movie going, ooh, ooh.
No, this some of these are the point is I picked the worst review I could find.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. Okay.
Your
For
opinion-
example,
Your opinion sucks.
here's another bad review for a Godzilla movie.
Okay.
Laughably horrible. My adult son and I were laughing out loud how bad this film is. Godzilla looks like a sock puppet with googly eyes stuck on when he first appears.
God, that's a couple times in the Showa era that he looks like that. He does look like a sock puppet. So, how old is this movie that
You
they're
guessed
talking
this
about?
previously.
Did I guess it previously?
This is within the last 10 years.
Oh, well, then it's Shin Godzilla.
Yes.
But to me, some of the Showa era ones, he looks like a lizard version of Cookie Monster. No, he looks good. Don't bat on him. He's sharp. Oops. And
Sorry,
those
Julia.
jab.
Yeah.
He's fine.
These are all good-looking Godzillas.
Well, thank you.
Yes. All right, we're almost done with these. It's all action all the time. Grade school plot, decent acting, but hard to follow with all those close-ups of the monsters. This is one of the legendary films.
So Godzilla King of the Monsters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Rodan shows up, breaks out of a volcano.
Yes.
That was a good one.
Yes, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
Some people didn't. Some people went the other direction on that one. Not enough Godzilla, and then they went, "Oh no, that's too much."
I thought that was the best King Ghidorah ever.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. He really
Yeah.
captures it. The Rodan was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love him. I didn't hate him.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Godzilla's
you had
great.
to have Rodan chase the great big airplane.
Yeah, no doubt. I like where they went with it, but I wasn't in love with it.
Yeah, stabbed by
A good
Mothra.
Mothra.
Yeah.
A very good Mothra in that movie.
Yeah.
I was a big fan.
This one is a solid film that shouldn't be taken too seriously. Is that how all Godzilla's
I'm
made?
saying that's every Godzilla movie ever made.
A little more of the monsters would have been nice instead of focusing on characters I cared very little for. Yeah, it was sort of could have been any Godzilla, but that's one of the more recent legendary pictures.
Is that the Godzilla vs. Kong?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Which is funny because in Godzilla 2014, they show Godzilla in comparison to an aircraft carrier, and
Right.
he's bigger than the aircraft carrier. And then Godzilla vs. Kong, they both fit on top of the aircraft
They
carrier.
do. And I understand people have continuity issues with that.
Yes.
But it makes for a great scene. So
Yes.
I don't care.
Here's another review that could sound like it could be from any Godzilla movie, but I'll give you. This is a segue into what we need to talk about today. This movie is in Japanese and is subtitled. It was long and storyline is slow.
I hope they're not talking about Minus One.
They are talking about Minus One.
Well,
Which most reviews for that were 5 stars.
Right.
Best Godzilla movie I've ever seen. So.
Minus One is arguably the best Godzilla movie ever made.
Right.
It's one of the very, 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 maybe the only Godzilla movie that I care about the human story.
Oh wow.
That I care about the human element. Does it drag at times at the beginning, setting up the characters? Absolutely, it does. I won't say that it doesn't.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, you're just like, okay,
Everybody's sad and miserable.
let's roll. But it does a great job capturing the despair of the era, pride of the Japanese people, and then the Godzilla's fantastic.
Yeah.
And once he
It
makes
is.
even his mini Godzilla on the island during World War II,
Yeah, I
he was
wasn't sure if he was
fantastic.
mini or not, which I love that decision point where, for a normal Godzilla movie, I'm thinking you shoot him with those airplane guns when he goes and gets it. By the way, we're talking spoilers.
Yeah,
You
a lot of
guys-
spoilers on
you
this one.
should have seen.
You should have
this.
already seen this, so get with the program.
He runs to the airplane and he's faced with another decision point of whether to act or not. And as a Godzilla, I'm thinking if he shoots him, he's dead. But really, we don't know. That might have actually hurt Godzilla at that point.
It may have hurt him. The
But,
20
yeah.
millimeter cannon out of the Japanese Zero is a powerful weapon. Mm-hmm. It's also a very big lizard.
Yes.
So it's also very big.
Just-
Probably would have run him off,
Yeah.
maybe, but he didn't. So we
Yes.
don't know.
Yeah, so that becomes a running theme throughout the movie of a guy who's supposed to act and be able to sacrifice his life and then doesn't. And in the end realizes that you can still act in such a way with good planning where you don't have to sacrifice your life.
Well, it's also the idea of overcoming the get into the World War II stuff, to overcome the samurai code that the Japanese live by.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already at a disadvantage because he's a kamikaze pilot who chickened out.
Yeah.
So he's brought dishonor to his family and to everyone. And you see that at the beginning.
Yes.
Then you follow that up with all the orphans. He's an orphan. The woman he meets is an orphan. The child she has was an orphan that she found because of the bombings that they had and all the
Right.
destruction that was there. So it's the story of all the orphans. Very much an issue of World War II in Japan because of the mass bombings. We're not even talking about Hiroshima or Nagasaki, but just the fire bombings in Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, all that stuff.
It is an orphan story.
It's an
You're
orphan
right.
story.
Yeah.
And so they're having overcoming that. And then you see the people taking the pride that we're going to do this, we're going to do this the right way, we have to be self-sufficient and have to rebuild all this. And that there's a way to be successful without having to sacrifice lives needlessly.
Right.
And I think that is the underlying story to it, as well as don't play with nuclear weapons.
Don't play with nuclear weapons is
Which is what Godzilla has
very
always
good.
been in its heart.
Yes.
From
Don't
1954 until today, the underlying theme of every Godzilla movie is radiation is bad, and messing around with radiation in nature is a pathway to destruction.
Yeah, and even the movie title itself, I didn't realize this until I read it, and I don't think a lot of American audiences will realize it. But when you translate something as zero in Japanese, it's like us saying we've hit zero, and our expressions would be we've hit rock bottom.
Yes.
So in the title of the movie, when Japan, when you say you're going below rock bottom, you say I'm going -1. Godzilla Minus One means, okay, we've already hit rock bottom, and now this thing is coming after us.
I did not know that.
To kick us when we're down.
Okay, so Godzilla Minus One is we've already hit rock bottom and now we're digging a hole.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I did not know that. That's
Yeah.
cool to learn. All right.
Yeah, it's something I read.
Okay.
And I only had one sort of penalty, but it is very cultural distinct. But even I think your exact quote was "Jesus, dude," and he just
Yeah.
bam.
He was a bit dramatic.
Yes. So,
Yeah, a bit dramatic for that. And like you said, because we saw the movie together.
yeah.
That throughout the entire movie, the only time I made a comment
Yes.
was when he slammed his head down on that. I was like, calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down.
It's all right.
And it may be a cultural thing.
Yeah, and I think it was a time-specific cultural thing, because I don't know that I've seen very many Japanese people, even in current media, slam their head on a table.
No, that's not something I have seen a lot of. I agree with you. It's
I've seen them bow really low.
I've seen that.
But yeah. But
I've
not-
seen them get really excited about a game of paper, rock, scissors.
すごい不思議な子なんですけど、マッサージが大好きなんですよ。
してもらうのが
やるのもしてもらうのも。でだからマッサージに通いまくってて、足がめっちゃ細いです。最近はもう行ってないみたい。
Yes.
But I have not seen them needlessly slam their head on a desk in a cry of desperate help.
Yes.
I have not seen them.
So yeah, we were talking about desperate times and desperate measures.
Very
and,
true.
And how your greatest monsters don't come for you when you're strong and ready for them. They come when you're weak, because that's just kind of how monsters work sometimes. And this movie is very encouraging that if the way to get through that is to come together as a community and not rely on your big aloof leaders for that, but as a community of people living
involved.
neighbors.
Yes.
That they managed to get a hold of a couple of old destroyers, which is the government was going to throw those away anyway, but then they put them to good use as
They were disarmed.
Oh,
They were
yes.
demilitarized, if you
Yes.
remember.
Yeah.
So.
Godzilla in this is very scary Godzilla. I saw a lot of inspiration from Jaws.
Very much so.
Yes.
But he's chasing the boat. Again, spoiler alert.
Yes.
But if you've watched the trailers, you've seen this scene.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. First of all, it's a terrifying moment.
Yes.
It's really well filmed. It's definitely a pull from Jaws. The director has said just as much.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big surprise, but it really is. It's a really great scene. When he
Yeah.
tears apart the American cruiser.
Yeah. It's one of those moments of levity of someone being very serious. We're gonna stand up to this monster and we're gonna win, and then it just blows up the other boat in one shot, and you're like, okay, never mind.
But not today.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is, but it also is a change, and it's also speaking to the change in the mindset of the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, preservation of life is important,
Yes.
and that is a change in the cultural ideal in Japan following World War II. Before then, it was death before dishonor. Now it's preservation of life
Yeah.
is the right idea, and so even that message in that scene is still underlying cause there about
Right.
not only the change that these individual characters are going through, but what the people of Japan are going through.
Very true. What do you think of Godzilla's new powers in this film? He's got super regenerative capabilities.
Yeah,
rather
the
than
regenerative capabilities were neat. That's kind of
Yeah.
a new twist a little bit. Comes a little bit from the legendary Godzilla stuff where he can heal himself up
by taking a nap.
by taking a nap.
Yeah.
You know.
Even recently, he took a nap under a mountain. Like, I
Yes.
didn't know he did that before. Normally
Well,
it's-
you know,
it's-
sometimes you want a weighted blanket.
Yes.
You know. I did like it. I liked the way they did the spikes for the buildup of the atomic breath, and then
Yes.
they drop down to fire. That atomic breath was absolutely
Yeah.
devastating. I thought it was fantastic.
Now, some people think the Shin Godzilla breath is more devastating, but I don't know. This is
It may be, but I
Yeah.
don't like Shin Godzilla, so I don't want to give him any credit. You see, he's not here.
Yeah.
He could be, but he
Yes.
got fired.
He got fired
Um,
because he had googly eyes.
he did have googly eyes.
Yeah.
It's the Shin Godzilla maybe, but I don't. I'm also one of those people I try not to compare Godzilla movies
Yes.
because you're talking a genre that's 70 years old. 70 years old. Look, when this guy came out in 1954, it's not at all what it was like when this dude came out in the 90s.
Right.
You know, and now we're in the 21st century, well into it. We're 23 years into the 21st century.
I've always kind of felt that way, even about Star Wars.
Agreed.
For
You and I are on the same. You and I have had that talk before.
yes.
I enjoy each Star Wars movie for what it is.
Yes.
I enjoy each Godzilla movie for what it is. That's why he works.
Yes.
That's why he's been around for 70 years.
Although I am on the side now, I love -1, but I'm also a big fan of monsters fighting monsters.
Agreed.
I love that. So if they could do that type of story where you also have monsters fighting monsters, no, that would be.
I read not long.
Can that be pulled off? I don't know.
I think so. I read not long ago that with the success that -1 has had here in the United States, that Toho has extended an offer to the director of -1 for 2 more movies.
Oh. Okay.
And so it'll be interesting to see what direction he chooses to go with that.
Right.
Legendary is doing a really good job of incorporating monsters fighting monsters.
Yes.
And so
they finally got some interesting characters in the Monarch series.
they did. They did. I didn't know we were going to talk about that, but I'll dive into it.
We'll jump off into the Monarch series a little bit.
I'll dive into it.
Could be a different topic, but we're getting hit all left and right with a bunch of Godzilla. So
We are. Godzilla everywhere, and I'm here for it.
yeah,
I'm here for it. End of the day, Godzilla -1, for me, was the best Godzilla movie ever made. The human element, the monster element, and of course, it's got World War II, which is another one of my great passions, as you know.
yes,
So it had everything for me.
right,
Everything for me. And I think it's returned to its original story.
right,
A return back to the 1954, Godzilla is a symbol of the destruction of nuclear power, messing around with atomic energy, and it's something to be feared and not played with. And that is the original message of Godzilla, and it's a return to that message that I think I enjoyed the most.
yeah, definitely. All right, so how many kaijus out of? I'm gonna give Godzilla -1 5 out of 5. Category 5 kaijus to use a.
Oh, I like it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give him 5 out of 5, plus a King Ghidorah
King
on top,
Ghidorah.
because he's actually 3 more,
Yes.
so it's 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, 5 out of 5,
That's fine.
for sure. Absolutely. I would recommend it to every Godzilla fan to go watch it.
All right, cool. And thanks. Well, I've been in the writing ref. That's been the call. Didn't really. I had the one penalty. I don't know. You could wave it off as a cultural thing, but I want to thank the Godzilla expert, the Coach Tuck, a referee working with a coach. You know, that happens.
Stranger things have happened.
Yes.
But we can take care of it.
All right, appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And we'll see you next time. Please like and subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to let us know if you want more of us together talking kaiju.